What's up, guys? If you guys didn't see, I recently wrote an article for PC Gamer about Charge with Light mods and why they're so strong and why everyone should be using them, or at least just getting them now because of the fact that they're going to be good for a very long time. And I want to make a video kind of going along with this article. Initially, I was pretty much just thinking about turning the article into video and pretty much just using it as a script, but I decided to actually kind of add onto the article with two incredibly easy to do Charge with Light builds that work with any character in the game and any activity, and will pretty much be some of the best builds for the entire duration of Destiny 2's lifespan. They are that good and that simple. So starting off with the first build, we're going to be using only two mods. The first one is going to be taking charge, become charged with light by picking up an orb of light, and this one only costs 3 energy and has no element tied to it, so you can use it on any Season of Dawn armor piece. The next one will be protective light. While charged with light, you gain significant damage resistance against combatants when your shields are broken. This effect consumes all stacks of charge with light. The more stacks consumed, the longer the damage resistance lasts. And this mod only costs 2 energy and it is void, so you will need a void Season of Dawn armor piece. So to get this entire build going, we only need 2 pieces and only 5 energy between the 2 pieces, so very low cost of actually doing it. And since our main way of getting charged with light is going to be by picking up orbs of light, we're going to be using a masterworked primary, a masterworked special if you want, then also a heavy if you want to also. That way we're going to be picking up as many orbs as possible from ourselves, then also other people's supers, and pretty much any source like that. And this build is pretty straightforward. You get double kill, create an orb, pick it up, get charged with light times 1, do it again, get charged with light times 2. Then once you become red bar and your shields break, you'll be getting a 50% damage resistance for 10 seconds with only these 2 mods on. And that 10 seconds of 50% more damage resistance could make or break you staying alive in very critical moments when everything's focusing on you. And you need that extra time to get out of the situation you're in and just stay alive. And that will be useful in pretty much every PvE activity in the game, especially the harder content. These 2 mods could be what keep you alive in a raid in a critical moment, or even a 9-day nightfall, or pretty much any hard content in the game. I can tell you for a fact the next raid that comes out, a lot of the serious people going for what's first will be using this chain right here to stay alive in a lot of critical moments. It's so easy to do and it's so good. And if you want to go above and beyond with this build, you can also use Charged Up, which is going to be a solar Season of Dawn mod, which allows you to get an extra stack of charge with light, and you can do that twice to get up to ×4. So now as we play and pick up orbs, we'll eventually get up to ×4. Then whenever our shields are broken, we will have that 50% damage resistance for a full 16 seconds now, which isn't much more than the 10 seconds before, so it's not really worth it unless you just have empty slots to fill. But now with a full 16 seconds, we pretty much guarantee that anytime our shields get broken, we'll be able to get out of the situation and actually live, and be able to live and fight another day. So this entire build right here is one of the simplest uses of Charge with Light. It only costs 2 armor pieces and 5 energy between them, but it is one of the strongest builds in the entire game that will impact your gameplay the most, because you'll be getting that 50% damage resistance in those moments that you actually really need it. It's not going to be like some mods that kind of work when you don't actually need it to be working. It's only going to kick in those moments that you actually really need it. Up next will be the other build I'm going to use in this video, which will be pretty similar using Taking Charge. That way we can pick up any orb of light and get charged with light. We will also be using stacks on stacks. That way every orb we pick up will give us 2 stacks of charge with light. Then finally the mod we'll be using is High Energy Fire, which will give us a 20% buff as long as we are charged with light. And the way that this build is set up is in a way that we will have an infinite loop of charge with light. Get 2 kills, create an orb of light, pick it up, get charged with light times 2, get 2 kills that consume those 2 stacks of charge with light, but at the same time make another orb, pick it up, and rinse and repeat. And this is pretty similar to the previous build where it's on working every single activity in the game and just pretty much give you a 20% buff at all times, which is the equivalent of an Empowering Rift. So you pretty much have Empowering Rift on you at all times that moves around with you. And if I need to explain to you why 20% more damage at all times is good for you, well, one scenario where this is actually very helpful is versus champions. With Iznagi's Burden, you barely don't one-shot some of them when you're above their light level. But now with his extra 20% buff, you can one-shot them. So that's just one situation where that 20% more damage is very helpful. But obviously just having 20% more damage for all of your weapons at all times really shouldn't need an explanation why it's actually really good for you. These 2 builds are incredibly simple, especially the first one only requiring 2 armor pieces and 5 energy between them. Yet both of them are so strong. The fact that these mods aren't tied to a single activity is what makes them so good, and what will keep them top tier for the rest of the game's lifespan. Unlike previous mods that are tied to a certain activity, for example Nightmare Hunts, Raids, or something like that, or even Leviathan, these mods aren't. They're literally just puzzle pieces of things that benefit your character. Some of them help you become charged with light, some of them allow you to use the stacks of charge with light, and there's really no direction of how to use them or what you can do with them. It's pretty much all up to the user and how creative you can be. And the point of showing off these two builds I use in this video is meant to show how simple it is to actually use this system and how good they can be without actually needing like a full crazy build going on. These two builds can be used on any character in any activity, and when it comes down to it, the hard content, these are the builds I will be using. And as you get more used to the system, you can start doing crazier and crazier builds. For example, the ones I've uploaded in the past, which I'll link in the description, why I use a primary, or also like the ultimate Dawnblade build. Overall, I just love how this system works. You can make those super simple builds with it, or you can go all in and make a very complicated build that only works with like one character with one exotic and blah blah blah. Or you can just use Taking Charge and Protective Light and just work really well anywhere. So this system is so dynamic and pretty much you can do whatever you want with it, and I really hope Bungie sticks with the system and actually adds more mods in the future, because it really is one of the best ideas they've ever had. Anyways, let me know what your favorite Charge with Light mods are and what is your favorite build to use with them. The rest of the video will just be some gameplay with some of the best Charge with Light builds I've made so far this season. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.